Okay. Just gotta adjust this.
What?
Smile.
I'm fine.
You're live. We're live.
Okay. Cool. Hey, y'all.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Brando just rushed here straight from work, so
Sorry, guys.
don't be sorry. It's okay. They understand.
You know how it is when you work a real job, like a lot of you guys do, and then you try to come home to bring the news. We're starting at 9, Ed.
I mean, we're here.
We're here
early.
We're still early. Okay, cool.
To spare.
Woo!
Got 117 people so far.
That's awesome. You know, they're still coming. We're still early, y'all. You're getting a seat early to the dance. Thank you.
The QuickBooks Support app allows me to take a photo of our.
I'm the biggest fan of you guys. I watch you guys. I guess we should probably go ahead and start this off. I know we used to do so many things at the beginning, so we had so much more time, but this hour just isn't long enough. I think this is actually the 3 coolest hours of my week, besides spending those hours with Miss BB. Look like I got man boobies there. Hold on, y'all. I'm a big guy here. Don't do that, please. Don't touch the merchandise. Don't touch the merchandise.
That's all.
Don't touch the merchandise.
It's mine.
No, it's mine. I don't need a hand, bro. Thank you. Being a big guy, I got big guy problems right now. So, good evening. We will go ahead and start with the news. What's up?
Should we introduce ourselves or no?
Oh, yeah. Shoot. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't, but we're going to do this thing.
I am April Beebe.
And I am Mr. Brando. And welcome to the status of the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD. I like to start off with a bunch of news. I think we ought to blow and go. You guys tell me differently. Are you checking the thing or what are you doing? No, you're not.
No.
So today, remember we talked a lot last week about the exchange and iOS certifications. And the other day is I'm going to throw this out there. How many of you guys wish that our Speaker of the House for Iraq, that Malawzi guy, Mawauzi or whatever his name is. I mean, golly, what a little fire plug he is. He just gets after it. I wish he was PM sometimes. Well, he did like this Q&A with one of the newspapers, and I guess he was interviewed by somebody named Hadi Glomiri, and they asked him about like the central bank and lifting the restrictions, which was really interesting because he talked about refusing to mortgage money, so no loans. We've talked about that. Trading the investment in a country or a particular system, upgrading their financial system, which they're on SWIFT, when the increasing confidence of the international banks and the central banks of Iraq and lifting of the restrictions. That was key to me. Lifting of the restrictions. And I think a very telling sign of that was them tearing down those concrete borders around the green zone and in front of the central bank, opening up, Iraq, not just to the world, but to their own citizens for international business and for just country business for that matter. Just a huge show of I guess good foot forward type thing. And they discussed with him. They said, they asked him, do we have a brief about the motives of the establishment, the objectives engaged? He said the goal is to unite and reunite all exchange companies under one tent and represent them to a government agency to solve problems and enhance cooperation to serve economic stability. So I think what they're trying to do is get all these like mom and pop kind of halfway exchange companies, turn them into real functioning banks, get them under the real banking era, and hopefully get them on track to start doing exchanges and only deal in dinar, no more MCP. They said, can you describe the role? I think we ought to skip that because we talked about this so much. But I'll leave you with this. He says, through contracting with international companies such as Western Union, MoneyGram, who knew that? Who knew that Iraq was doing business with people like Western Union, MoneyGram, and to do the work of a mini bank by providing all the services allowed by the law to provide to customers. And finally, hope this large and important segment, which is estimated in the thousands of more care and attention by the state, because it has the largest role in the daily moving of masses of cash and activating the private sector and operation of labor, in addition to larger services provided to traders and importers. What it sounds like he's saying now, my whole new brief description now of what these little like brokerage places, they sound like those little like corner stores. You know what I mean? They sell kind of goods and services. They have MoneyGram, check cashing capabilities. They might be a place where people go in and cash in their Q cards. You know what I mean? That's kind of the idea that I'm getting from them. And what they're trying to do is get them on like the straight and narrow and not be a bunch of thieves for when this change takes place, that people don't get ripped off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, how many of you guys have heard all about the fight against corruption is carried out through the two procedures of investigation and investigation and the clear impression of implementation process? Now, remember before, we've always talked about the corruption people. The problem is they have weak legislation to help carry out the corruption. So even if I was to go out there and bust Maliki, it seems like they'd have to let him go because they don't have the authority to keep him under locks. So I think that's what this whole Security Council coming together thing is, and how as a supervisory body, it will allow them to have more legislation and more of like a federal act, like our FBI acts in big RICO cases, or as our, what do you call that? CIA acts in like these huge espionage cases, crimes against the state. Crimes against the state meaning the United States being like the FBI with RICO, with money laundering, money tampering, terrorism, stuff like that. And then the CIA kind of being a broader scope, which might be like their international police segment, to do with more like terrorism on a broader scale, domestic and stuff like that. He said that the agendas and the intersections met in the theft of public money and reflected negatively on the political system and the interest of the people, adding that the citizens groping corruption through the reality that lives with daily life. He said that the thousands of files of corruption accumulated should be followed by judicial and investigative bodies and prosecute those responsible. How many times we've heard that? We need them to quit talking about it and give those lawmakers some bites where they can go out there and take a bite out of crime, like Mr. McGruff. And they said they defined corruption as the exploitation of negative political influences and escape from the account and punishment, and noted that the political parties do not adopt anti-corruption without public pressure, and was the first of the rate of participation in the elections paying that dosh. So what they're saying is before all this dosh stuff does, we didn't have all this, right? Afterwards, remember, a body came in and got the council started. But he was weaker than milk toast. A lot of people like Abadi. I'm very critical of his legislate because he didn't get a fully seated GOI either. He didn't do a lot of things that people are holding behind his little feet to the fire on. And I think it's kind of double standard and critical of everybody because Abadi didn't do half the crap that Behandi's done thus far at his first 100 days. And I'm going to get to his 100-day report card, okay? Okay, so I've been looking for stuff about the national oil law or the company's law. I found an article that I think that Sharon sent me from Facebook, and she sent me a lot of stuff. She sends me stuff all the time. It says the company shall be limited in accordance with the company's law 21 of 1997.2 to mediate the sale and purchase of foreign currencies, carry out the internal financial transfer. The maximum amount of the transfer shall not exceed its capital and its reserves for 1 day. Entry into the window of sale and purchase of foreign currencies so that the share consists of a total number of shares of the 5 integrated companies. D, obtain outlet agency POS from a electronic payment service provider acting as a secondary agent of international e-finance companies such as Western Union, MoneyGram, possibly to open an additional branch. The fees paid by this bank for practicing the profession follow the supervision and auditing shall be limited to JD $3 million. The possibility of the merger of 2 companies of category B to be a class of A company after obtaining the approval of its bank. Third, the category of conditions. So it says preserving the name of the company A and it mediates the sale and purchase of foreign currency up to $500,000. And 3, the percentage of the letter of the guarantee to be issued to the bank not to abuse the holiday, 10% of its capital. The company adopts the AML, CF regulations combating money laundering and terrorist financing. Mediation privileges, the company is limited to liability, meaning the sale and purchase of foreign currencies. So this just sounds like a big time, kind of like corner stores, what we call them here. So the idea there is that these guys, they're getting these mom and pops on board. And this is for all these naysayers. I know a lot of you guys are out there going to say, well, I'm not a naysayer. I'm a speculator like you are. Well, the idea is that why would you go through all this to lock your currency to 10 cents? I mean, sincerely, you have spent more reconstructing, refiguring, getting people back on track than it would have ever just have been like 10 years ago. You know what? Let's just cut this crap out, drop these 3 zeros, it's 10 cents, let's just rock and roll, right? So, I mean, everybody says, Mr. Brando, you changed. No, I haven't changed. I'm just trying to point it out bit by bit that I think it's just way too much for these guys to be doing for it to be $1, right?
Right. Or you mean be less than $1?
Be less than $1. I'll get arguments from everybody that it should and it shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. Now, it says Washington, U.S. Donald Trump said on Sunday he wanted to keep his military presence in Iraq in order to control Iran. Well, you guys, that was actually a, translation error. It wasn't to control, he meant to watch. We just built a huge presence over there in Iraq. And that's another reason why I didn't include them in the 4 pictures in the thumbnail. Because I don't think we're trying to buy our way into Iraq or buy our way into their good graces. I think what you're seeing from the American standpoint is we've made a major investment protecting your borders, your people, your walls, you as a sovereign nation. And all we're saying is that we're about to have our businesses come in. We want to protect our asset and our business. And that's why we're not going anywhere. And we also need to keep an eye on Iran. Good gracious. All those militias in there and stuff like that, they need to have their ear to the street. They need to have intelligence, like he said there, because you know what? Cops have snitches that go out there and tell on people, but you can't always believe the cops that are snitching on the bad guys. Sometimes you got to have some bad guys that snitch on the cops, let you know what is what. Right. I agree with that statement on that. Not all good guys are good and not all bad guys are bad. So we need to have a presence there so we can keep a watchful eye, not only our investment as being oil with Chevron and Exxon and all these other companies, but to watch our capital flow because we want money to go into the country and money to come out of the country freely. Okay? I didn't have a chance. Could you Google this for me real quick before I read this? What is the value of Turkey's currency?
What is the value of Turkey's currency? It's thinking. What the? Let me just type in.
And I'll read it to you. Erdogan to Baghdad soon. Reconstructions and threats to most prominent files. The Turkish Foreign Minister Mahul, I'm going to really butcher his name, Gulaguşgulu.
It looks like 19 cents. 1 Turkish to 19 cents.
Okay, well, the Turkish Foreign Minister has announced a plan to visit to Iraq by Turkish President Erdogan, the Turkish Foreign Prime Minister. Turkey is closely following the latest development in Iraq, especially the reconstruction and formation of the comprehensive government, which is one of the top priorities in Iraq today, along with terrorist threats that have taken place in Iraq, he said, still exists in this country. Turkey's foreign minister also said that his country is working with the international community to remove the threats that Iraq still faces after their victory against terrorist organization. On the reconstruction of Iraq, Ugu, that Akari pledged to pay a loan to Baghdad worth $5 billion US. Now, that's a whole bunch of money. What was their money called? The Turkish lira?
1 second.
The lira, they're going to loan them $5 billion. Now, I always say this, I'm just using a bad example, your deadbeat brother-in-law, who ain't paid nobody, but he's got some emerging markets going forward. Why would you loan them $5 billion if A, they don't have means to pay it back and then pay it back in such a period of time? That is huge, okay?
So are you saying that something's going to happen to the Turkish lira as well?
Oh,
okay.
It goes to the solvency and liquidity of Iraq. How many billions of dollars have you seen pledged? The last time I told you guys that I counted, there was about $60 billion in foreign reserves. There goes another $5 billion right there. They've got to be close to $100 billion in foreign reserves, not just in their own money, but through loans that have been attracted or gained through the CBI or the GOI. Okay, so that money keeps climbing. Who knows how high it is right now? Just like you don't really know how much money is in circulation. 2 other very speculative things. Now, this is what I want you guys to kind of go off on today is that today was, or I think a couple days ago, was Mahandi's 100-day report card. I gave him a C. I'm going to tell you everything that he said. He said his trip began with conference despite socially, politically continuous issues under discussion, citizenship, identity, inclusive government, human development, education, among others, all diverse ethno-sectarian background of the participants. There was a consensus on the most fundamental issue, that Iraqis must build their own nation together and focus on the future rather than dwell on the injurious past. Okay, lip service. I love what he's talking about. He met with the president, Barham Saleh, and prime minister, despite the difficulties to process, complete his ministerial cabinet and the tough challenges he inherited from previous governments. That's my whole point to this. He really inherited a crap storm. So, like, for everybody to kind of say, well, he hadn't done this, he hadn't done that. Yeah, he hadn't, but it wasn't like our old buddy, a body left him in like pristine position to be like kicking it in the next gear with like, you know, an open form of money flow and ISX and everything else. He left him in crap. And then, you know, he gave him more crap by throwing mud on his shoes when he didn't do things as fast as he wanted him to. I just think that's very critical of him. And I thought it was just very crappy of him. He said he was mindful of the need to address corruption, but say that pressing matters are the economy, governance, and the service delivery. Yeah, you got to have goods and services for your people. I think that's A. Number two, your economy's in the crapper. Now, business-wise, you guys are doing good. You're getting loans. People love you, but your money has no free capital flow. That's why I was so critical on your grade. That your inability to get those last three people inked in, meaning justice, who I already know who's going to be, interior, and defense. If you couldn't have got one guy, either accept the role that you got as being proxy governor and move forward, and quit bitching about it. Let the United States be your steward government and take over and be in control, or be the man you said you're going to be. Use your red card, put someone in the position beyond some Iran-backed terrorist or Iran-backed militia person, and go forward with the reconstruction process. He said the visit took place in the palace, and other branches of governance were there underway. He said Iraqis had previously seen the presidency as well as weak, trivial institutions without a real political power. The fact of the matter is that the previous presidents have not made use of their status of the office. I would agree with that more so than the PM. The PM's supposed to get the job done, but weak presidents such as the one before him, remember the infallible? Well, he was fallible because he was never found. So you got to be found to be fallible. And number two, you were fallible because you were the weakest of male duds in the whole bunch. He let the auctions, he let Maliki, he let Amiri, he let Sauter, he let all these people run amok, and his dead butt didn't do anything to get off his butt, put some action into plan, and give a body the help he needed. All he did was go out and call himself the infallible. Well, yeah, I'm the infallible if I don't ever get out there and make any mistakes. On the U.S.-Iraq relations, both sides have emphasized the importance of the alliance and the need to make it as strong as possible. Notice what it's saying here. I'm going to read you something different in a minute. To make it as strong as possible, the Iraqi public is already taking note of the positive change. Remember when they got in trouble a few weeks ago and they were like having those protests in Basra? What were the people saying? Donald Trump, come here and intervene. So when people say, do you think the United States is going to abandon their $7 trillion investment? Heck no. No, I think they're going to stand up for it and get their monies out of it, whether it be oil, whether it be some other things that they can step in and get things done, the revalue currency. I think they're not going to let that pass, okay? So I don't think that the United States presidency is going anywhere soon. Infrastructure and reconstruction spending is far less adequate than expected. In fact, the electricity sector, this is another reason why I was critical of him. Why'd you make a deal with Jordan and it takes you 2 years to implement it? That was stupid. Now they're getting oil now to Jordan. Your infrastructure for your electricity grid should have been kicked in right now. Summer is rapidly approaching. Saw its budget slashed by billions of dollars, leaving the ministry with hardly enough money to operate at last year's level, which is 50% of Iraq's capacity to provide services over the whole country. So this is my other thing that I'm critical of you of. Why would you slash your budget? Why wouldn't you enhance your budget as much as you could? Because you know that the summer's coming and you know it's hot in Iraq, to get those people the adequate services they need to stay cool, and so the elderly people don't get sick. You have proper refrigeration for foods. All the things that put you in good preparation. Kind of like here, we say prepare for the winter. Well, I'm sure in Iraq, there's probably a proverb there that says prepare for the summer, okay? Security, it's been the safest it's been in a long time. I've said that. That's why they tore down those barriers and walls. This is their lowest levels of violence. I have been a long time since I've read any credible statements or articles about bombings or car bombings that have happened lately. I think they're on a good job there. He said they're on a relaxed body. Even the highways between Baghdad and the middle Euphrates provinces, Babylon and Najib, once it was impossible to travel, risking one's life. Now there are no checkpoints or signs of tension. Cultural life, the university continues to work on improving its national standings and seeks better international recognition. Met with the president, several administrators, and other facility managers. The education, the new education member should be right in there pretty soon, and she should be doing a good job. And they did a great job there. So my grading for him was a kind of an okay C. I wouldn't say I kind of say the C with a grain.
C plus.
You give him a C plus?
I'm asking you. Are you saying like a C plus, a C, or C minus?
A C.
Just a solid C. Okay.
A solid C. A solid C. I could have seen him be a little bit more stronger on a few more things, especially like seating on his government. I could have seen him a little bit more forceful. I wanted to see him a little bit more stronger on asking Locke what the suitable environment was for the deletion of the 3.0 project was. Number two, I wanted to see him finish the investment law, which I never saw come to fruition, but I did see that the actual budget had passed, which I thought it was kind of weird. How did you pass the budget, but y'all didn't deal with the budget law? Mm-hmm. Or did you deal with the budget law and you didn't tell anybody? You know what I'm saying? I mean, It's stuff like that I'm not giving him a strong stance. Kind of like, I do like the fact that our presidents, all of them kind of give us the sense that we know what's going on. Even though we may not know what's going on, but we feel secure in the information that's coming out of Washington, D.C., that we kind of have an idea of what's happening.
They communicate to a certain level.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Not super detailed, but transparent enough to keep the people safe and warm.
Exactly. I feel that Mahani did a poor job of relating that to his people. That's my own opinion, okay? Gotcha. Oh, thank you. Sorry, y'all. You know it gets warm underneath these lights. Oh, shout out to Miss BB if we're brighter. Y'all, we got some new lights. On the parliamentary legislation of the law of oil and gas, you guys, the HCL law is one of the things that we had to see, that the IMF wanted to see before a revaluation process took place. The legal committee Saturday passed the passage of the oil and gas law. In the parliament, there is a political consensus on the wording of the law between the government of Baghdad and Erbil. We already know they squashed that because they got the budget passed, which got Erbil a 14% instead of 12 and more barrels of oil per day. The law of oil and gas is one of the most controversial laws between the governments of Baghdad and Erbil. Its legislation will have a positive impact on the Iraqi economy. Well, heck yeah, it will, because the oil and gas laws, the HCL, your hydrocarbon law, is going to pay your citizens. So to pay your citizens, you got to have them at some type of nominal value, or your actual domestic reserves will run out, right?
Right. Because
dinar at 11.90, if you got 30 million people, that ain't a lot of cash flow to go around. So we're expecting some type of monetary change there. And it's noteworthy that the oil and gas law faces serious differences from the 2005 version and also from the previous 3 parliamentary sessions of legislation. Kind of like saying that, Bush Jr. isn't the same thing as Obama, and Obama darn sure is the same thing as Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of give you an overview there. I found this next article very interesting because of the Paris Agreement on debt. Kuwait newspaper, they reported on Iraq that they paid $300 million to Kuwait. Now remember, another part of the SBA agreement that they had to have under control was their payments to Kuwait. There was lots of speculations of people that said, well, no, they ain't got to pay them. They ain't got to pay them. Debt forgiveness. It's not debt forgiveness. It's actually kind of like just a reshuffling of debt, consolidation of debt, letting you pay it at a later date. It's really not that you're getting off the debt. They paid Kuwait this little bit of money, and they say that they owe them $4.6 billion in cash, but these payments have been suspended since October due to security challenges and budgetary problems. It's funny that they say budgetary problems, and last year they were in a complete surplus for the year, but whatever. But the payment was resumed at 5% of Iraqi's revenue starting from 2018 and will increase annually until the end of 2021 by $300 million every 3 months. So they ought to have that $4.6 billion paid off in basically what, 10 times 30, 3 years, something like that, 4 years possibly. That doesn't mean they can't revalue before then. If I was Kuwait, I would ask myself, do I really want your payments in this worthless dinar where it's just taking up all this room? Or why don't you just go ahead and pay me in revalue currency? It takes up less space. It also gives for a better value on your dollar and my dollar. You know what I mean? I told you guys that Turkey's going to give them a $5 billion loan. Okay, now here's a very interesting one. It says Monday activating Iraq's reconstruction, noting that the foreign investment can cover those expenses without having to balance the state budget funds. The majority goes to salaries and others. So they're saying that they can pay. The foreign investment is that it can cover the cost of reconstruction out of the state budget and that it should support by the government. There is an investor to a country like Iraq under the complexities without an infrastructure, and the columns are the most foreign investment banks borrow from global banks. So corruption is a big deal to eat flesh and institution. What they're saying is eat cash in the restitution. The state is like a cancer that kills our investment as investors. We want to see punishment for corrupt to send a great message to attract investors. So corruption is a big deal to eat the flesh of the institutions. The state says it's like a cancer that kills our investment. As an investor, we want to see punishment come to the corrupt and send a great message to attract investors. So what they're telling you there is, we want to put forth a strong stance against money laundering, stuff like that, misappropriation of funds, because we want foreign investment, because they know that's the only way to sustain their government, to really stimulate the private sector and to get unemployment under control. Okay. The foreign investor has a requirement, but some Iraqi experts include science and business competencies, and all other Iraqi middle class that play a role in reconstruction. Short liberated areas. We've already talked about stuff. He says that we hope after removing that resolves around the blocks in Baghdad, to remove blocks that resolve around the investment. So even Iraqis are starting to talk about their home as an investment, and they're looking at it from the whole idea that, you know what? Hey, if we get people in here to help offset our costs, it's just less money and less stress on our budget, okay? It says right here, we talked about Kuwait. And this is where my idea came in from the three-headed monster. It says, is Iraq getting in bed with a three-headed monster? Russia, China, and Iran. Remember, Iran's already deeply included. China told them they'd give them some loans. And now Russia comes out and has submitted an important oil offer to Prime Minister Abdel Mahdi to expand its work in Iraq and increase its oil exports, as informed sources Monday. The Russian side, represented by Mikhail Banganov, made an offer to the Prime Minister during his meeting in Baghdad, on which, including a partnership to carry out large oil investment through the exploration and drilling in Dakhar in southern Iraq and in the city of Ra and Anbar. Now, my take on that is this. Everybody else that you've heard them mention, Jordan, even Israel, Jews and Muslims. Now, come on, Jews and Muslims, they make friends instantly, right? But the Russians hint at wanting to do a job together. Mahdi reacted to the request and promised to study it and provide a response in the coming period. He didn't accept it. Why? Because he knows that there's friction between how Germany takes oil from Russia and how Russia deals with Germany, how other people deal with Russia. What Russia brings, they bring China, they bring lower economical value to their currency, stuff like that. So it's really kind of funny that the Russians stepped up, so they want to do major business with you. But as a free and emerging market, you said, you know what? I'm going to pause. I'm going to think about that one before I make my confidence, or even signs your weak MOI or MOU, modus of operandi, whatever that crap is. They didn't even do that with them. Very interesting there. I told you guys the president approved the budget, but what you should be asking yourself is what happened to the investment law and how are they going to balance those loans? Because those loans are going to eat at our reserves. And with the peril of oil being at 47 to 56 bucks, there won't be many times of surplus. So we got to be careful on how they spend their money. Now, a lot of you guys have made comments about the gold reserves out there, and this is my take on the gold. It says right now, in 2018, hit a record highs according to the World Gold Council. Russia was the forefront of buyers. Another reason why I shouldn't be on the gold standard. Central banks bought the largest amount of precious metals since 1967 at 65.1.5 tons, up 74% from 2017, buying more than 375 tons of gold. The growing geopolitical economic uncertainty over 2018 has driven the central bank increasingly to diversify the reserves and focus their attention on the main objective of investing in safe assets. Now, besides Russia, its gold reserves have strengthened countries, including one, Turkey, we just talked about, Kazakhstan, we've never talked about, India, Iraq, Poland, and Hungary. Russia ranks 5th in the world in gold reserves. The United States is number 1, followed by Germany, Italy, and France. Donald Trump, I told you about the presidents. The central bank warned on Monday of dealing with electronic trading companies by selling and buying currencies of gold. I guess what they're talking about there is on their website, they posted up those pictures of those gold coins. They're telling everybody, hey, look, don't just trust these people. They are not sanctioned by the bank. So buyer beware and don't get ripped off. I left this story for one of my last things. How the heck did Ali Al-Laq on Monday buy 20 trillion in treasury remnants to move the market? Where'd they get 20 trillion dinar from? Could somebody go out there and tell me how much 20 trillion dinar at 1190 actually is in USD? I want to know because their only foreign reserves that I count right now is basically about 90 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The central bank has not only achieved the basic goals, but entered an economic growth, which is unconventional policy, noting that through unconventional approach, we have bought 20 trillion in treasury transfers and the purpose of maintaining the economic situation and move the market. They probably bought those $20 trillion worth of treasury from a discounted market from Russia because Russia to buy the gold sold off their U.S. treasury. So that's probably something where you could connect the dots there. Yeah, Russia sold off a bunch of their treasury notes to liquidate themselves because they're cash strapped. Iraq probably stepped in and said, I'll buy those treasuries at a discount to relieve you guys of some pressure. So I'm not kind of weird about that one now. Said that the buy was unconventional. Heck yeah, because who authorized you to spend $20 trillion? No, that's kind of weird. Private sector, great satisfaction with the agreement signed with Iraq. Industries represented economic facilities. They expressed their appreciation for the great efforts made by His Majesty. This is about Jordan. They're kicking off full steam with Jordan, y'all. What is Jordan's currency valued at? Do you know?
I'll find out.
Watch it be like 27 cents. Yeah, get rid of Iran. Let's get more Jordanian products in there, and let's get Jordan to go ahead and kick in with some electricity.
So one Jordanian dinar is $1.41 USD.
That's not that bad. That's a much better value than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, let's do some business with people like that. And that is the news. I am open now for.
I got questions. Okay,
let's go.
So Lucas wants to know what's going on with the HCL.
I just read you the article.
Okay. Sammy wants to know, what does the China trade deal have to do with the IQD?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's not provable nor sustainable. Nothing.
Okay.
It's a feel-good thing.
So, and there's a lot of back and forth about this in the chat. Kung Fu Richard wants to know. Uh-oh. You want to go ahead and get that?
We'll take a call.
Okay.
Bob Dylan.
I love it.
Bob Dylan. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Bob, you're live.
Hi, my name is Bob Dylan, and I just have a quick question.
Go ahead, Bob Dylan.
I wanted to know, why is the Iraqi dinar the most controversial currency in a nutshell? Why not the Mexican peso or the Canadian maple leaf dollar?
Bob, you raise a very valid point because the speculation that went behind it as far as the 9/11 bombings, as far as us going in there with planefuls of USD, flooding their market, basically taking over their country for the last 15 years and not having anything back to show for it. Also, their currency fluctuating and having pings going out all over the internet where it shows $1 one moment and less than 1/10 of a penny the next. It's shrouded in controversy and shrouded in all kinds of mystique, but we know that because of diligence that they're working with the IMF to reinstate their currency, and that will all come to an end very, very soon.
You still there, Bob?
Interesting. Thank you guys so much for answering my question. Have a great day.
Hey, Bob, you should do voiceovers. Your voice is killer.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on YouTube if you guys are ever.
Yeah, give it to me, man. Where is it?
Channel. Yeah, it's Kevin Wealth TV, KevinWealth TV.
So if you're all about that wealth and you like Bob Dylan's voice, go out there and follow him on YouTube. Thanks for being a fellow YouTuber and following the channel and keep the faith, okay?
Thanks for calling.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you later. Go ahead and ask a question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Bob Dylan threw me off. Okay, hold on.
Bob Dylan angered Daisy, though. She's barking.
I know, because she wants to be in here. She hasn't been with you all day. Okay, so Kung Fu Richard wants to know, if Iraq is going to RI or RV, why are they still getting loans?
Well, because remember, if you go into the fractional banking standpoint, the more loans they get, $1,000 can be fragmented basically into 10,000. So multiply that on $1 billion level. You see what I'm saying? It's a way to cover that their spread in a way. You see what I'm saying? It's a way to say they can justify all this money that they want to revalue at.
I knew you were going to say that. But somebody asked that question.
That's okay.
Because basically 10 billion will yield you 100, or you'll be able to loan out 10 times as much.
Correct.
So that's 100 billion.
There you go.
I got you.
Here we go, y'all. Another caller.
Family.
To accept.
Hey, Sammy.
Oh man, is this Mr. Brando?
It show is Sammy. How you doing?
Hey, Sammy, didn't you just ask the
man,
question?
What's up, y'all? Yeah, I did. I just have a real quick question real quick.
Okay.
If you bought $9,000 worth of dinar and if it revalued at 10 cents, how much are you looking to get back?
Well, $9,000. That means you approximately got $900,000 at 10 cents. You basically got $9,000 worth of currency.
Okay, cool.
Or well, no, $90,000 in currency. Sorry, 90,000 if my math's correct.
Well, so for every what?
Okay, so hang on.
1 million dinar, right?
Right.
Is about what?
$900.
$900 to 1,000.
Right. So you got 9,000 times
1 million.
times a million.
So that's 9 million. He's got 9 million in dinar.
Right. 9 million in dinar.
And then you need 6 zeros. Yeah, and then times it by 0.1. You got 900,000.
There you go. $900,000 is your answer.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you, man. I love y'all. I'm sitting here at work. I'm just chilling, watching y'all right now.
Oh man, like, comment, and share, please.
And you got your question answered, right? About China. You heard his answer.
Yeah, I got it. I appreciate it, y'all.
All right.
Bro, let me take this. All the Chinese speculators are out there going to tell you that there's some voodoo legislation in there about, man, once the Iraqi dinar goes, that this is all going to go in the China trade deal. No, I'll tell you where there's hidden legislature out that I totally missed, and I'll be the first one to admit it. You know where it was? It was smack dab in the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement has more to do with the Iraqi dinar than I ever thought it did, and I'll be the first to admit it. Okay?
Gotcha. Because I was wondering, I was like, And I have one more question. Can y'all answer it for me real quick?
Go for it.
Okay, we'll do it.
Okay, so back in December, Donald Trump had announced about the government was already leading and stuff like this in Iraq. I'm trying to figure out now, like, I'm wondering why Iraq hasn't came out yet and said anything.
Well, they are, and that's why Mohandi's made this big deal about saying he's coming to the United States to meet with Trump and being in a delegation about what the heck is going on. Like, he wants answers. Now, remember, Mohandi just a little while ago said he had no current knowledge of bases in the United States. Remember that?
Right.
So now all of a sudden, now he knows there's bases. Trump comes out and says, we just spent a bunch of money on a base in northern Iraq, right?
Right.
So somebody be lying. There'd be a rooster in the hen house. And I think he needs to come here and answer to what's going on, because I have a feeling that the way Mr. Trump's going to answer his questions and deal with them is not going to be the same way that, like, let's say Obama dealt with Abadi, or it's not going to be the same way as Bush dealt with Saddam. It's going to be a mixture of both. A whole bunch of butt kicking, a whole bunch of strong talk, and a whole bunch of you better get your butts in gear, because I'm tired of keeping you on our budget, which is the United States budget, and he already cut it by not paying the Kurds. I think you're going to find a bunch of strong stance, and at least for him to say, if this is nothing more for e-commerce or commerce to get inside of your country, to make it back into taxpayer dollars back in this country, you're going to open up them doors. You're going to put your currency at an international rate, so I can at least justify this to the American government to make myself look a whole lot better than these other presidents that skated their way by.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you, Miss. Miss BB, keep drinking on that drink. But y'all have a good night, and I'm gonna continue to watch y'all.
God bless you. Have a good night.
Bye, Sammy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so Kung Fu's last question. Let me get back to that.
Okay.
Where am I, Lord Jesus? Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so he says, 5-year loan with the World Bank. Why would they need it if they're going to have lots of money very soon?
Because think about it like this. If you go to buy a house, they want to make sure you got credit. You can pay it back, right? Mm-hmm. So to an investor standpoint, if you're a steward of somebody else's money, you'll be a steward of my money.
Right.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
From a common sense place, y'all think about it. It's not so much that I need the money, right? It's like anybody that's a big financial guy. I don't need the loan to pay the bill. I can buy it myself, but I'm going to use your money at a lower interest rate than the marketplace. I'm going to utilize it to strengthen my own economy, not take away from my fiscal budget, which is responsible, and I'm going to show the world community that I'm a steward of your money, and it's not going to go to corruption. It's going to make more money pour in. That's all it's going to do.
Okay. So that's my last question so far. I'm still going through the chat. If someone wants to call in.
Anybody want to call in? Anybody? Hey, Peter. What's up, Seamus? What's up, Daza? Chris? Aaron, shout out. Peaches. Metroid. My man's in the house. Yo, Parker, what are you in here doing? You causing trouble?
Parker?
Neil Parler. TNT. Here goes Bruce at 3 more to go. IQD rate back screens. Y'all, there are no back screens. There are no front screens. They're Backstreet Boys, but there are no back screens.
I never wanna hear you say.
What did y'all think of that Super Bowl? Sucked.
I want it that way. Tell me why.
I'll tell you why.
I love that commercial.
Oh my God.
I like the Backstreet Boys. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Sammy Beach.
No, hey, Waylon. No, those coins, those are gold coins. They are not the smaller fraction that we were looking for. I'm actually looking for those coins to be minted or pressed in like maybe a silver alloy or a nickel alloy, something that they can't melt down for value like they did before, and basically take the money straight out of the central banking system because it'll be worth more out of a fraction of they're worth more in their metallic state than they are in their minted state. So no, those gold, they're trying to ward those gold investors off buying fake gold off the internet.
I wonder what Sean's talking about. Sean Warfield Sr. says something weird came in the mail to me from the Water Group. They're a wealth management company.
Yeah. What did he say?
I don't know. He just said, that's all he said. That's a statement. I'm like, what's weird? What came in the mail?
Y'all, I get weird information all the time.
He gets contacted by the Illuminati and he responds.
I'm bored. And I'm not afraid. So, you know. Oh, yeah. I do. Sharon, my friend that's on here, she's a great person. I was hoping that she'd have her sister call in. She was going to explain how her thought process of what a LOP was. And she had a great viewpoint. I believe her sister's name was Dixie. Dixie, if you're out there listening, if you could call in, that'd be awesome. Your explanation to me earlier was like, it was awesome. Yep.
Tom Flaherty says, let's get this done. I keep hearing this week. What do you think?
It's not going to be this week. Y'all listen to me. I'm not going to come out and tell you this week, this month, this day, this. There are a whole bunch of markets out there that are not open for business that I haven't received what I believe in satisfaction of whatever they want for all of this to go through. I'm looking for this or next or April, but I mean, that's my opinion. I'm not, don't hold me to it. That's my windows. I told you between now and April. In April, I'll know exactly what the purpose of the Iraqi dinar was for. I will know that. Well, I know the value of it? No, but I'll know the purpose of it. Okay? There's a difference. If I know what it's for, then I can tell you guys where to put your monies or your currencies at to maximize it. Until I know what it's for, I can't do that.
There you go. You got a caller on the line. Okay. Can't hear it. You gotta hit 1.
910-393-7219. Thank you.
I'll call you back.
To mark this message as read, press 7. Or to keep it as new, press 9.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. To mark.
I want to call that number back. Hey, caller, will you call back? Oh, here you are. I'll call you back.
Hello?
Hey, did you call Mr. Brando?
I sure did.
Good. Hey, man, what's going on? What's your question?
Hey, I just want first I enjoy your show and your wife there, Miss Bibi.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I had a question. A couple of them I wrote down. One you mentioned already about the budget law had passed today, and
No. I said the budget had passed. My question was about the investment law. I talk really fast, so I'm sorry about the mix-up. I do. I speak really fast.
I read that the budget law passed also yesterday in an article. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're right. The budget did pass. Yeah, the president signed it. Yes.
Okay. And Alok went to this financial conference in Baghdad, and he talked about the 20 trillion and some kind of assets, right, to help them move to a free market economy. I'm just highlighting the article.
Yeah, I'm following. I know where you're at. I'm following you.
Okay. And then also I read somewhere that they had acquired an exchange company to help them get into the stock exchange.
Correct. The ISX, they got a company in there to help them bring them to the international stage. Correct.
Okay. Do you see that as a real big benefit? That's kind of like a biggie, right?
Huge. That's like the sum total. Like I could end the call right now and be like super smart. Like them being able to have stock exchange internationally is like, and they're practicing it on the international stage and their gamification of it. You guys understand, if you want to teach an adult something, you gamify it. That's why stuff like all these kids now like sing stuff, they play games, because gamification is like the 21st century or 22nd century way of teaching you something. So they're teaching them how to play stocks as a game, and the winner gets like $5,000. This is huge news for us. Huge.
Right. Yeah, I've been into this investment for a few years, and like most of us, we're really looking forward to someday seeing something transpire. And do you think that? I think that we're just waiting for the rest of the cabinet to get completed to give them some more security and stability. I really believe the CBI is ready to do their thing. And I find it frustrating that the Prime Minister won't find 3 good people in the whole country of Iraq to fill these positions so that they can. There's so much they need to do, and it's like just like a huge holdup because he won't put 3 good people for the Parliament to vote on.
I agree, and why he's doing it, I don't know. If I've asked my friend, the reporter that deals with Parliament all the time, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? He has no answer either. He doesn't understand it either. A lot of people, that's another reason why the grade I give him was a C. It wasn't higher. I mean, there's a lot of questions that I would love answers to, and I will tell you this, in this absence right now of Parliament, and I knew that like Sauter hasn't said anything. Where the hell is Sauter? I mean, excuse my language, but where is Sauter in all this? He hasn't said anything. I was real critical of some of the things Sauter had said on Twitter, and I started retweeting his post. My friend that's a reporter told me, Brando, stop doing that. Because enough people are getting not angry at me, but angry at the substance of the tweets that change has to happen. You can't keep promising people change and nothing happens, right? Something's got to go happen. So we're on the cusp of something. What it is, I don't know.
I just want to say I enjoy your show a lot. I try to listen when it's on, and I think most Americans that are in this investment are at the point where we realize that they've done so much, come so far, but now there's just a little bit that they have to finish,
right?
And we just don't know, are they able to do it?
I don't think they have much of a choice. I mean,
they're in a bind.
Yeah,
they're in a bind. But what do they do with this situation?
They suck it up and go forward. I mean, seriously, they don't have a choice. They want to distribute oil around the world because what happens if they don't? And they're talking tough talk about these whole Iran sanctions. What we don't want to see is Mahdi go to the United States, bring the delegation to the United States, come up here with a bunch of tough talk because he's a paper tiger, and Trump tell him, you know what, you pompous little prick, what I'm going to do to you is I'm just going to put your whole country under sanctions again, and we're going to start this process all over again because obviously you haven't learned your lesson like Iran. That's what we don't want to happen. But Trump would do it. Trump would do it to prove a point. You see what I'm saying? Like, get your butts in gear. Let's get something going.
I'm still not sure where President Trump fits into all this. I mean, I know we read a lot, but he's so busy. And if I have a question. We read a lot, and a lot of it's, you just don't know if it's true, where these articles come from half the time. But what part really does President Trump play in all this, or does he even?
Oh, he plays them not in the reevaluation. Like, he can't make them throw a switch, in my opinion. Okay, but as long as we impose the sanction, it's our will against Iraq. You feel me on that?
Right.
So it's his will that can be their savior. Also, if he says, "Man, you guys are solvent and sovereign. You want to be your own governing power? We'll pull all of our troops out of there. You guys do your own thing, but we're also going to pull all of our businesses out of there and everything." It takes everything that we've done up to this point and brings it back to ground zero, in my opinion. Because without a U.S. presence to protect the capital flow, and without those U.S. businesses extract, because nobody processes oil like the United States. Nobody. If those 50 countries don't go there, if these things don't happen, would you give them any money? They can't protect their borders. They're obviously corrupt, and they got no means of paying you back because that's their track record. Would you give them any money?
Right. I believe you said the other day that when the businesses that plan to come there and that are already there, they need security also, and that's I believe you said that's why we're there, to protect our own assets as well as theirs.
The world's assets, and theirs. They're so blind. Listen, the problem to me with a lot of Muslim, like Middle Eastern countries, is their pride, right? They all think they're so darn smart, but they are so darn corrupt that they're foolish. And they're going to let their minds overload their butts, because those guys in parliament, they ain't sitting in no hovel in somewhere. They're living in nice places. They're eating good food. Their electricity's on all day. They got internet. They're not worried about anything. But you put their butts in a place where they're scrobbling for energy. They ain't got no air conditioning to cool off their fat, lethargic butts anymore, and they've actually got to get something done. Watch that country move mountains in minutes. And that's what U.S. security gives them. Security.
Right. Well, I've enjoyed talking to you this evening.
Thank you.
And I've enjoyed the conversation myself. You have a great evening, okay?
I appreciate you guys, what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Metroid's so funny. He said Iraq is ran like Death Row Records.
It is.
He said, wait, Iraq is being run like Death Row Records, aka Iraq Run Row Corporation Row Records. I promise my people and I lie at the same time.
Of course. It's like any other, like their idea of politics is off like the worst soap opera ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So a person asked, does the coins represent a smaller fraction?
No, they're gold coins. They don't. They're not going to. Nobody mints in gold anymore because the gold's worth more than the mint.
Sammy said, it's kind of weird to me that Trump tweeted the congratulations of their government back in December and Iraq has not announced it yet.
Well, the reason why is because everybody thinks the same thing, that the government somehow is already in play. They just haven't figured it out yet because they're not ready to go to the international stage.
Emily wants to know, if they borrow from Russia, do they have to reinstate?
No. Matter of fact, what I would love to see them do is borrow from Russia and not pay them. I would. Russia's broke, you guys. Not broke on the term they don't have any money, but they're not the powerhouse they once were. Sharon said, I love the Backstreet Boys.
Okay, I'm with you, Sharon.
This is not a music equality class. This is the Iraqi Dinar IQD.
I never want to hear you say
77083 in the house.
It that way.
The Eagles. You guys are all on football.
Football's over.
What's a gold standard? I just want to know. The gold standard was when, before Nixon was the president, the gold standard was basically your currency had a direct reflection on how much gold reserve you had in stock, and that played a major part in what the currency value was, along with some other factors.
Hey, Kenneth Sales. Kenneth Sales says, the bank said, hold on to all my currency. It's about to pop.
Well, Kenneth, please let it pop.
Remember, Kenneth is the gentleman that told us that Chase Bank he knew somebody worked for Chase Bank.
Yeah. He talked to me earlier, and his people are watching. One of them was supposed to call in, but I don't think they had a chance yet.
It's all good because the show's almost over. We only got 7 minutes left. We could, if they get a chance, call in Wednesday.
Zymus says, how true is it that Iraq has a German company printing the lower denominations? Actually, Zymus, the United States printed their currency, I believe, back in 2016. And they still do, to that I know of. Peaches. Nope, no rates or dates. Oh.
Happy birthday, Clifford.
See, look. That's her. That gave me that explanation.
Oh, okay.
About the law.
Yeah.
She's the one with the map. If you want to go to Mr. Brando's fan page
on Facebook,
and read the definition of a law, Dixie's sister on there put a really great explanation on there.
Cool beans.
Brian says, I see the IQD being introduced as a relatively low rate to draw out the suckers and incrementally increasing. It is true value. Patience is a virtue. I agree.
Yeah, banks can't give you details, Peaches. Nothing has happened.
No, they're not going to give you any details. And if they do, they're lying or they're misinformed or something. I mean, I just don't think that could happen to all that degree.
There's just like, somebody at Charles Schwab giving me a stock tip. Like, this one's about to really go. Unless they got insider trading, there's nothing that they could really tell me about a certain stock.
Sheila, my statement regarding something happening in April regarding the dinar, that once I know why these huge institutions bought all this dinar and what those big buys were for, why they bought those grades of different things, why they had certain requirements, it will all be revealed in April. That's what that means, Sheila. I hope that answers that.
Wow. Marion said Bent said that when Trump makes his speech tomorrow, I guess he means Benny. I don't know if it's Bent. Makes a speech tomorrow that they will impeach him, and then they will have a in the streets in the mix of all of this. I don't know what that means. That's when
I don't know. If President Trump's going to give a speech tomorrow, I don't think that. Listen, y'all. In the process of Trump getting impeached, it's not good for anybody. Okay, right now. But even if they impeach him, one group will impeach him, but the other group won't pass it. It'll be just like Clinton. It won't make a difference. And no, what I am not saying, Sean, is I'm not saying April. I'm saying from now till April. Any day, in my opinion, anything can happen. That's my window, y'all. I know everybody hates that because if April comes, you're going to call me a son of a gun. You're a liar. You didn't know what you're talking about. But that's what I'm looking to know, what I'm looking to know.
Well, and basically, I hear you say that we'll know what we need to know come April. That doesn't mean an RI or RV. It means we'll know what we need to know.
About what the function of the Iraqi dinar truly is and what it means to a fiscal environment in Iraq.
Okay.
I will know it. And that's how, listen, to play the game, I got to know what game we're playing. And if I know the game, then I can tell you guys how to play. Kung Fu, you the man.
Destiny Eagle Fly, it's water with crystal light. I'm not getting tipsy tonight, so that refill is just water. Maybe Friday. Once the week is over, I'll have a cocktail.
Y'all need to play nice and stop bashing. Yeah, play nice in here, guys.
Who's that?
Babe, she's moderating.
Oh, yeah. She put Peter on timeout. or took a couple of his messages
Peter,
out.
no.
Yeah.
Pete, stop.
Peter and Neil and a couple of other people.
My only question is this: if there are trillions of dinar out there, and I take my stick, and you take your stick, and the 20,000 viewers you have take their 100,000+ and/or sticks to exchange, how does that not bankrupt Iraq? Well, Chris, that's that whole thing called fractional banking. Because the money that we're going to turn in will go into our foreign reserves, which will either be used for purchase or for whatever, and they'll get that money back somehow, and that they'll be able to loan out more money and to pay out more salaries. Therefore, if I turn in, let's just say $100,000, I can then loan out almost 10 times the value of that. You see what I'm saying?
Hush, Daisy.
Daisy's getting aggravated, y'all.
Yeah, because she ain't seen you all day. Mount Go said today the smaller notes and coins have already been done in Germany and Iraq, and Iraqi dinar is very close to getting reinstated.
How would you possibly know that?
Right. I mean, that's what Mountain Goat said.
No, I know that. And I read Mountain Goat. I read her this morning. I read her stuff.
Uncle John Riley said that Mountain Goat is full of poop. Mountain Goat poop.
Right. It has.
I'm just.
I know. It's keeping it going, y'all. We got 2 minutes.
Yeah, Michelle said Trump isn't going to get arrested or impeached. Laugh out loud.
Nah.
There's all these conspiracies.
Iran meddling could be a holdup. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but those militias are more of a holdup than Iran. They need to make sure that those missiles that they found outside of that base get deactivated and that nothing happens to our troops, because it will be holy heck on their behinds if something happens to that air base that they just built.
I hope Daisy doesn't do something bad out there.
She won't. The bastard King Me slapping funny. I don't know what's funny, King, but tell us. 440 Magnum the Mopar. I feel
yeah, baby said y'all need to stop bashing. Yeah, Neil's been on a timed out for 300 seconds.
Y'all leave Neil alone. Neil, be nice.
And then
hey Chris, what's up?
Your boy Peter.
Hey.
He just got deleted. And see, this one got timed out. So they're going back.
About Zim?
Who knows?
Iran is not communism. Iran is a republic. China is communism shortly. Well, Bastard King, I would believe that, but Iran is also basically the foot soldier for Russia and China. So if your holders are communism, what do you call yourselves if your ideology is based on that? I find that funny that you even mentioned it.
Hush, Daisy. Hush.
Yeah, Russia's not holding on to a bunch of cash flow. Y'all.
Okay, we'll make this the last call.
Last call.
Put it on speaker.
You're live.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing there? Brando.
Hola.
What's going on? It's Joe Williams.
Me and you.
We communicated several times on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, we do all the time.
Yeah. I just want to give you a quick rundown. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Miss Vivi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Anyway, I'm doing fine.
And thanks for the invite yesterday.
Oh, yeah, man. I had a house full of people, man. There's over 60 people in my house for the Super Bowl. Man, we had a ball.
Oh, man, we hate we miss it. But I'm going to go down there and eat me some more of that crawfish bread that Miss Bibi made for dinner.
Oh, yeah, I'm still eating leftovers myself.
Ooh.
And I was in Wells Fargo, of course, and they don't know anything about it. They claim that they're not going to be trading dinar, or they don't have plans of trading dinar, which, I believe is crap. They just, prolonging it before they're actually able to do anything. But as far as dong, I'm in there at least twice a week buying dong. So they trade it free, of course. You just pay the $7 for delivery, and it'll show up in 2 days. Another thing, my opinion about Trump is not going to he's going to get impeached. I believe they're going to drop the paperwork, but I believe Trump will back out. He'll grab his chips off the table and walk away. They say, hey, you drop the charges and I'll get off the chair. And
his turn is almost over, though.
Let's just run the country.
It'll be just like Clinton. He will get, if he was to get impeached, it'll pass one, but it won't pass the other.
And I think, you look at the one president that was officially impeached, Nixon, that took 3 years. It was a process. So at this point in time, I don't see him being removed.
Nah, he's there. And you know what? And for the investment purpose and for what his forcefulness is, I kind of want him to stay. I'm not a huge fan of Trump in that regards as, his legislation purpose and how he deals with people. But for the investment, I like his viewpoint.
Oh no, I like his viewpoint as well. But I believe he's too proud of a man to where if those charges are in and they drop those impeachment papers, I believe he'll just grab his chips and walk away. And the charges will get dropped, and the country will go on, and hopefully this RV will take place, and we're all right off into the sunset with a big smile on our face. But look, let me get off here, man. I'll shut up and listen.
All right.
Great show as usual, man. You keep it fun, you keep it energetic, and I think that's why a lot of people love it, man. Because it's not just a blank page that you just read off a book or something like that, man. You put a lot of fun into it. Plus, you have a family element added to it with you and your lovely wife right there next to you, man. So keep it going, man. I love it, and I'm going to continue watching.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Have a good night. Okay. I'm gonna end it with this, and Joe, we'll talk later. I'm gonna end it with this, y'all. Golden Spotlight says, "Where's the validity in the new notes and the coins?" Well, you saw the new notes come out in the 250 and the 500, so we know based upon, and I can pull up the graph and post it up for you. I have it of what comes out next, and the coins. I haven't seen anything about coins yet. Okay, so full blown theory. There is no theory. The CBI has already posted it all up for everybody to see, so there's no theory in that. We already know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Facebook is Mr. Brando fan page. I'm on Mr. Brando YouTube, on Twitter. Go out there and join it. Mr. Brando fan page. If you send me a fan request, I'll take it. Peter and Neil need to be nice to each other, and I am out of here. That was the news, and I will see you guys Wednesday with another awesome report with my lovely, lovely wife. And I wore a nice shirt that time.
Vanna Black. No.
Good night. And the Super Bowl sucked. Bye.